they just make these really beautiful sounds like nothing else you can find. Every bird has its own unique sound. But in order to understand the story behind that sound, you got to do a little bit of research. Holy moly, so many wood thrush. Hi, I'm Anna Buckart-Thomas, and I'm the avian ecologist with the Iowa Department of Natural Resources. And over the past few months, my team and I have been working to research wood thrush, which is a really cool common species in Iowa, but actually one that's been declining. And we've been traveling all over the state to capture birds and conduct this research. Wood thrush are so fun. They're one of our common species in the woods, but they have this beautiful song. It's kind of flute-like. Hearing them just makes me smile every single time. We've lost about 60% of their population since 1970, and so we need to understand more about what's going on. Is it habitat related? Is something happening during migration? What are the factors and threats occurring during their life cycle that might be impacting their populations? And the more we understand about the species, the better we can answer those questions and make conservation decisions to help them. Each bird has its own behaviors, and they're in different areas, and it can be really challenging. You have to hike out to them. You have to figure out where their territory is before you can really be successful at catching them. It definitely takes some pre-planning, and it takes even months ahead of time. You need to make sure you have your equipment and your permits and everything in order. So it takes us a lot of work to get to the point where we're even ready to net. We use a piece of equipment called a mist net, which is basically a mesh wall. This wall of mesh has these pockets in it, and so the mesh blends into the surroundings. We put it in a spot where it's kind of hidden in the shade, and then we draw the birds in with sounds of the same species, and then the birds don't see the net, hit the net, and fall into that pocket and get a little bit tangled. So once we're all set up, we take our places, we get in our positions. I'm gonna probably be hiding in the bushes back there. We start to play the playback and wait for the birds to respond. We're trying to communicate with that bird and get them to react to what we're singing at them, basically, with the playbacks that we're using, so that that bird thinks something else is in its territory and wants to react and come towards our nets. In this case, we definitely need a lot of patience. I'm kind of worried because we're straddling too. You know, there's one right there, and there's one right there. So we're gonna tear down and move on to the next opportunity. After a whole field season of work, we've honed our craft of putting up and putting down our nets, and it gets a lot faster as we get through the season. Some birds will fly right in, some we've caught in 30 seconds. Others, it takes 4 net setups and 3 hours for one bird. So it all depends on the individual and exactly how we have the situation, what the vegetation looks like, what the wind is doing, you know, all those things play into it. And so we just need to be patient and do our best to think like a bird. You have to be persistent with certain birds, or you need to just know when this bird isn't going to get in our net and you need to move on to find a different bird. So today we're actually looking at a different bird that we haven't tried yet, and we're here earlier in the morning, so we're going to hope that those two things kind of factor into being a better scenario for us today. Got him! This time it finally worked. We got him. It only took a few seconds. We played the playback. He did exactly what we wanted him to. He got right in our nets, and so we've been successful. So now we're just gonna safely take him out. He's tangled, so he can't get away, but he's not injured. He's, you know, being safe in this net right now. So we're gonna take him out of the net and then process this bird. So there's 2 components of this tagging effort. The first is to put the bands on the bird. And that's a specific identification marker that's unique to that bird, and no other bird in the nation has that marker. And so if that bird's ever captured again by any researcher, we'll know it was marked here in Iowa and where and when. And the second part of the tagging effort is to put the tag on the bird. The tag is that radio transmitter that emits a frequency every few seconds and communicates with the Motus Wildlife Tracking System. And that tag will be active on the bird for about 400 days, so about a year and a half. And so that tag, once it's on the bird, everywhere the bird goes, it'll be emitting that radio frequency. And if it's within range of a Motus Wildlife Tracking antenna receiver setup, that bird will be detected at those stations. So it'll be detected here in Iowa near the station this summer while it's here, and then hopefully we'll detect it as it leaves, and again on stations as it moves south during its fall migration, and again as it returns moving north back during migration. The really cool thing about the Motus network and the tracking that occurs on the Motus network is that it's all publicly available and viewable on the motus.org website. And so that's motus.org. And so you can go on the website and find any of the stations in Iowa and click on the stations and see what birds have been detected. Or you can go on and look at our wood thrush project, which is Iowa Wood Thrush Party. You can see that information for our wood thrush and kind of follow along as they move south and get detected on different stations. It's really powerful to not only do fun work and catch birds and see them up close, but then to know that the information we're gathering is going to have a conservation impact, and we can make real life decisions from that information that will hopefully stabilize the declines of that species. That's like the most powerful part of my job, is being able to implement conservation action that will help these birds.